Welcome to the 1878 FM podcast. It's episode 38. We have made it through the season. You will note the relaxedness of my voice. Well, it mightn't sound relaxed, but it is. It is very calm, chilled. Not chilled because it's roasting in the studio. But the band is back together. Everybody is here. We have got the Captain Bush, the Mr. Popeye is here. He's back off his cruise. We've got Paddleboard Dave. Some tremendous photos over the weekend on the river. And Ped is up before 10. Well, he's been here for about 10 minutes, so 10 past 10, which is another collector's item. So absolutely tremendous. Men, how are we?
Good, thank you. Significantly more relaxed than when we last spoke.
You are.
And yeah, I mean, listen, I make no bones about it. I was nervous as hell, and I think that came across. And as the time got closer and closer, and in particular that, fateful Sunday, I was really, really nervous. But somehow we managed to escape the jaws of defeat, and here we are, and we fight another day. But let us not be under any illusions. This is not celebration time.
Okay, there. I mean, you've gone in early, but fair play. Andy, how are you?
Well, it was very weird, a weird experience to be having gone on about a hypothetical Everton arc for a number of seasons now, where we're sailing away and getting away from it in international waters. It was very bizarre then to be at sea in the Mediterranean on this cruise when this game was playing out. And we had it's one of those boats where you can hardly get any Wi-Fi or anything like that as well. So I felt it was kind of nice, actually. I wasn't drawn, although I felt like sick to my core. And it's amazing how Everton can affect you even when you're not kind of watching or checking the score. It's just, it's there in your soul, isn't it? You can just sense something. It's like spidey senses, something's going on. And it was kind of nice not to have to be, half time must have just been horrendous. We were going down at half time, weren't we? Do you know what I mean? It's just, so it is a relief, but I completely echo what Dave said. I feel like we've dodged another bullet, but man, if they don't do something about it this time, then there's hell to pay, I think, to be honest with you. How many warnings do you need?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we do go back to the fateful day, I mean, I credit a lot of it to Dave's little win shout in the last podcast. The chant that was put out. A lot of it. That was echoing around Goodison at one stage.
Yeah, I bet.
But if we go back to that fateful day, Ped, just 9 days ago, it seems a lot longer now in some respects, and also it seems like yesterday. I don't know about you, because we haven't done anything together since, have we? Obviously, I was away, so come back for the game and went back to Costa del Prestatum, which was absolutely roasting.
You caught the sun though, Barry.
Yeah, it's been sunny It's been warm every day.
You've got a healthy glow.
Well, it's all good. It's all good. That's been said. I don't know why. The drive over from Wales, me and my boy were trying not to talk about it too much, talking about different things. But the only time I was really nervous, like I felt a bit sick, was going through the turnstile. And I actually said to me mate as we were going through, we're going through as a fan of a Premier League side, and we might be walking back out in the Championship. And it was the only time my stomach really flipped a little bit. I had took about 14 calms to keep me, the nerves down. But I got in, and the atmosphere, Ped, it took over for me a little bit then, of like, right, it's just, let's get into it. There's 90 minutes. Doesn't matter who's playing. We know what we've got to do. What were you like? What were you like?
I was all right. Yeah. I was in the ground quite early, to be honest, just to sort of try and build up as the atmosphere built up in the ground. So I got there where it was really quiet. It was about 3:15 when I got in the ground, and I know there was a lot going on outside. There was a lot of the outside was that strange, because it was almost like people were trying to ignore the game and trying to think about other things, or almost pretend like it wasn't. And it was almost that thing of the minute you walk through the turnstiles, it became real. So I got there, the players hadn't even come out, the goalkeepers hadn't even come out warming up yet. I just let it build up as the people built up into the ground, and I thought that really helped me. Not that I was massively worried anyway. And then by the time it built to the whistle go, and I think everybody was probably feeling exactly the same. So, yeah, it was mostly fine all day, and even when different things were being said, rightly or wrongly, within the fan base, I was all right, to be honest.
What was weird was we were walking through, we parked and walked through the graveyard, walking that way up to Goodison, and the noise you could hear was unbelievable. And we were just saying on the way up, like, my God, it sounds like the game had already kicked off. We were like, didn't kick off at 4, did it? Because it was like about 10 past 4 at this. It was unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, Dave, obviously, the waiting for the game as well made it worse, didn't it? Because it was 4:30. It just seemed to be. Me and Zach were like, why couldn't we just kick off at 10 in the morning? Wake up, get over there, play the game, and get it done? Because it just seemed to drag, I thought, the day. And then obviously everything goes through your head, then, doesn't it? What could happen?
I just honestly, I felt physically sick.
Did you?
Yeah. I felt physically sick. Just that sort of nervous stomach. All day, and it was kind of, it was I suppose kind of the feeling that you would have ahead of an operation or something, or something that could potentially be horrible. And as I say, I sadly wasn't at the game, but back to what you said before, that feeling that this could have been the last ever top flight game at Goodison Park ever. Which is a horrific thought. But no, I mean, I had friends of mine kind of sort of saying, "How are you?" And I've said, "Awful." I went out on my paddleboard to take my mind off things, and then I dropped in and I had a quick pint with a mate of mine at about 3-ish.
Yeah,
calm the nerves, and then off we went. And
obviously you're getting all the if you watching it, because I had luckily, I don't know how. My mate was one of my mates was sat in front of me, and I don't know how he done it, but he had the other games on his phone. I can't get an update on scores in Goodison.
No.
He was watching the
game. Because there's never any
honestly,
Wi-Fi for anything. I can't even use WhatsApp in the ground.
James,
never mind stream multiple games.
James, I'm talking about you, as you know. He was sat in front, so he turned around at it must have been 4:33 and went, Spurs are winning. So straight away it was like, right, okay, Leeds have got to basically score 4 goals. So that can't, there's one, kind of one out the equation.
Yeah.
And then obviously got the update that Leicester had scored, and then you start going, all right. And you know what, even at that, before half-time, I was still thinking, all right, well, we know we've got to win, and we kind of had to win anyway, so nothing's really changed. I mean, it had. We were in the bottom 3. But Andy, for you, like you just said, I mean, was it a case for you that you just couldn't get anything, or were you aware of anything that was going on, or were you just too busy posing with Goofy and Mickey and that?
No, it was like I was getting, I was checking my phone all the time.
Yeah.
And I was kind of aware of what was going on. I felt kind of bad for, I'm glad it was Leicester and not us, but I felt bad for Leicester fans, because I feel like we've had a long time to get used to being as bad as we are, whereas they just kind of dropped into the basement like the way someone might fall out the loft.
Well, it was like us last year,
like Richard Wright. You mean?
It was a bit like us last year, wasn't it? They found themselves in this thing and were like, "Oh, they'll be all right," and then all of a sudden you start to look and going, "Actually, will they?" And that was us last year, and we got away with it, but they didn't.
I think this. We're now this kind of pre-season, off-season, or whatever is probably the most important pre-season we've maybe ever had at Goodison. Like, it'll be 3 and out. I think if they don't get this one right, and I'll take you back. I don't know if any of you guys watched our maybe you guys were there. The terrible pre-season games in the States. Were you at
we were
those?
there. Yes.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
And you saw. I don't know about you. I watched those games thinking, "Oh my God, what is going on here? This is like so." I feel like we need to. I don't know what the plans are for the pre-season or whatever, or whether they're going to give Deitch some money or whatever. But this is it. This is the last chance saloon. I think if they don't get this bit right, then we are. I'm not doing this 3 times on the trot. Last day of the season, pitch invasion. blue
I
smoke.
refuse to be on a cruise again on the last day of the season.
Don't make me go cruising again on the final day. That's
on
all
the
I'm
final
saying.
day.
See,
This is huge.
I think that the Connor Cody situation is slightly worrying. And by that, I mean that for me, logically, at the money that he was available in that clause of 4.5 million, you'd have bought him, I think, personally, even if only for cover. And the fact that they haven't, I think, is quite ominous in terms of what money will be available to spend, if any.
Oh,
That's my concern.
I'm gonna
he obviously doesn't fancy him, does he?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm just gonna interject there. I don't know whether Ped will see it this way as well, or whether, but I really like Connor Cody, and I think in a world where you've got a big budget, I would still have him. As what you've just said, he's a good pro and cover and all that. But haven't we been critical of the football club for his wages will be something like 80 grand a week at least, and he's 30. Haven't we been critical of the football club making these decisions in the past and going, well, he'll be good for us, and if he doesn't get in, he can sit on the bench, and he's a good option to have. I think the way Everton's finances have gone, I think Everton have got to move past this. This is my opinion. I think we've got to get in a world where our wages come down so that we can let the money flow a bit more. And we have to, if Connor Cody was 23, I'd be screaming blue murder now. 20, even 25. But he's 30. We've got Tarkowski, who's 30. Michael Keane is still there, who's 30 and on big wages.
Yeah, but I'd sooner have Cody than Keane or Holgate.
Absolutely, Dave.
It's
absolutely.
Them, though, isn't it?
It's getting rid of them, though, isn't it?
Selling them, isn't it? I think it's just bad timing, isn't it? I think more than anything, it's bad timing with Cody because it was because it was something that had to be done by the 1st of June. And I'd had an inkling from basically the moment he went out the side that he probably wasn't going to be signing. But it's time, and I think if we can get rid of Keane and get rid of Holgate, and he hasn't already gone somewhere, maybe they'll go back for him. I just think that it seems to me like there wasn't, go back to what Andy was saying. I don't think there was a real plan for the situation because they didn't really know what was going on. So I think we have to be very quick now, and the next couple of weeks are really critical in what we're doing. I imagine Sean Dyche will probably be straight back to work, and we have to get people out and we have to get people in quite quickly. And we have to make, we have to make a real. I mean, he said himself he's been working on it since the day he come in. But we think we have to get a real assessment of what we're doing and whether Branthwaite's going to come back in and he's going to be like the number one centre back alongside
Tarkowski.
So it's gonna. I think we have to get a move on and we have to get this sorted really quickly.
Just going back.
I'm
just
going to just ask.
Go on.
Would you? And go on, Baz. Go for it.
All I was going to say was just to wrap the game up, and then we can go on to the next bit. But what was obviously the core? He scores a worldie, and then you've got that excuse. And to be honest, I've seen a few things of like Bournemouth like rolled over for Everton. It was absolutely the opposite. They kicked shite out of us and were horrible. Their antics were horrible all day. The only real time heart in the mouth moment was the volley in the 94th minute or whatever, which Pickford made a good save from. But then it was the longest 10 minutes in history. That final 10 minutes of injury time, it really was. It was disgusting. But obviously, Dave, the final whistle. What was that like? What was that like for you? Just when that whistle went, was it just like did it kind of hit you later? Because talking to me dad, and he said I was all right all the way through, and it was about an hour after the enormity of like, oh my God, we could have gone. Do you know that kind of enormity like hit him as almost he was like punch drunk through the whole game, and it was afterwards that it got him. What were you like at the end?
No, it's exactly the same. Just absolute relief when that final whistle went, and then my phone went mad. My mum was on the phone, and other people were on the phone, and then texts were coming in left, right, and centre. Because that was the other thing. I'd had a lot of friends who aren't Evertonians who were saying beforehand, "Oh, you'll be okay.
Yeah,
you'll be okay."
Yeah,
and that really started to get to me because, and yes, granted, we were in the end. But it was just the fact that, and I said this to this mate of mine having a beer before the game. He's an Arsenal fan, and he goes, "You'll be I'm like, yeah, but what you don't understand is the fact that this won't be straightforward. You know, this won't be a case of Everton scoring first and just hanging on to it, and Leeds and Leicester get nothing, and then everything just proceeds and it's all fine. There will be twists and turns in this, of course there will, and sure enough there were. You know, and at halftime we were going down. But yeah, just massive relief.
Yeah.
That never permeated into the ground though, Dave. You know, I mean, you know that what you're saying there about at the stage with Leicester being one up. That never. I know Gary Neville made a big deal about it on the commentary, but that never really got round the ground.
No, I didn't really feel it.
It was fine. It was fine. You know, it was like there was a couple of rumours around me that West Ham had scored, then that went away, and then when Leicester scored, it was more just like people just going, Leicester have scored. You know, there wasn't like a ripple effect where it's gone round the ground. And I think Gary Neville mentioned on commentary like he made more of it than it actually was. It was quite calm. I thought anyway, and I'm in the Gladys seat. I'm in the mix of where people do really overreact, but it never got to that stage where people were like really worried. We knew what we had to do, but I think. And that was the thing before when people were talking about it, saying, "Oh, it's out your hand. It's in your hands." Sorry, that gives you an extra pressure. And I was like, "No, it doesn't. It was just about scoring then and making sure Bournemouth." And once we went 1-up, I thought we'll be all right here because we're 1-0 up. And normally when we're 1-0 up, we're fine at home.
The only
what was the obviously not being at the game? What was it like when the final whistle went? Was it like elation followed by shaking fists, annoyed, or what was that kind of vibe?
Oh, it was.
Andy? It was elation. It was elation. And then people ran on the pitch, and then the people who ran on the pitch were booed. Yeah, and were getting told to get off as quickly as possible. Right. And then that was all just kids. I mean, if there was any grown men on there, then Jesus,
there was. I saw a few.
But that was all kids. No, I know. And then it turned, and then it instantly turned to the board. So I thought it was almost the perfect response. Almost.
What did you, Ped? What did you think?
The only disappointing thing for me.
Go on, mate. Sorry, finish. No, go on. Sorry.
No, I was going to say the only disappointing thing for me was there was a handful of players there. Yeah. Who probably deserved to not deserve to be clapped off by us, but we deserved them to just come and have a walk. And the people like Yerry Mina probably deserved just to say goodbye to us. Yeah. And I felt really felt really sorry for him that he never got that chance. And you can sit here all season and you can have a go at people, but if they want to walk around and they want to clap us, the people who go every single game and pay to go every single game, then they deserve that right to do that. And we can, if we want to throw tomatoes at them while they're doing it, then that's up to us. But obviously that wouldn't have happened on Saturday, and that disappointed me that couldn't happen, especially for someone like Yerry Mina, maybe Tom Davis, Seamus Coleman to show his appreciation. That really annoyed me.
Yeah, no, that was going to be my question. I was just going to say, what did you make of that? Because I thought for the likes of Yerry Mina, even Connor Cody, who's done a season and whether you like him, don't like him, whatever. I think every time the lad's pulled the blue shirt on, he's given everything. Whether he's had a good game or a bad, he's given everything. He's always wanted to do really well for Everton, and I thought that was a little bit of a disappointing thing to not be able to go, all right, you've done it, or for them to clap and just go, thanks for the support. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to make a big thing of it, but just a little, especially for someone like Yerry, because I think Yerry Mina. Yeah. Again, and we know he's injury prone. We know that. It doesn't need saying. But he come back in and for the 4 games, the game he lost was Man City, and everyone loses to Man City. So, he was excellent. Yeah. And for his career to
him shithousing someone is one of the rare joys of this season. Do you know what I mean? Him winding someone up is fantastic. It's one of the rare little bits of relief and fun that we've had this season. So, I mean, whenever he's put on a blue shirt, he's been brilliant. But he's just that, him. I guess you put Calvert-Lewin in the same kind of bracket. You can't be paying those wages for people playing that amount of games per season. It's like, what is with that?
Yeah. Well, Andy, going back to the end then, what was it like? When did you find out? Did you find out almost when it finised, or was it?
Goofy tell you.
Minnie whispered in his ear.
We've gone down.
You're safe.
It's another year.
Imagine being told you're going down. Goofy tells you you've gone down.
That's it. That's got to be the peak low. If Goofy's breaking that news
to you. Goal difference as well.
Goal difference. I don't know how to say this to you. Leicester won. No, I found out. I was refreshing my phone, and the guy doing the show with Richie was getting alerts on his watch when it was going on. So
Cundy light.
Couldn't be
10
like
minutes. I mean, I'm like I said, I was eating dinner on the boat. Check me out, but I wasn't there. But that 10 minutes was the longest 10 minutes of my entire life, and I felt like I couldn't concentrate or talk to people. It was just almost like an out of body experience, that final 10 minutes. And then relief. I echo what Dave said. I got a lot of it's been hard being an Evertonian in the past few seasons. I feel like we've been the butt of a lot of jokes and everyone's taking the mickey out of us, but. I genuinely felt that a lot of people were kind of happy that we did stay up, actually. Got a lot of nice messages from people. And I think people just have empathy for the kind of pain that we've been going through. But it was weird. It was a weird celebration. It was like getting away with something for the second time running a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And almost a little bit embarrassed to be like, cheers, fellow Blues and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we got through it together and it was, thank God we stayed up. But like I just said before, you can't go through all this again. No. Get down to the last day of the season. My thing at the moment that is going around in my head a lot is like, what is the path out of this? What are the steps that Everton make to, put this situation behind us and just start to look to the future? And we've got a board that can't come to the games or won't come to the games, or I don't know what you guys think, but if you were planning the first couple of steps to a brighter future right now, new season, wipe the slate clean, where do you reckon we go?
Well, I mean, for me, I think we've already started, and sadly, it's with the refusal to sign Conor Cody. That to me is an indication of what I know. I've seen other people seeing it differently. I think Dave might have touched on it before, but I see this hopefully from my perspective as the start of we're going to have to really tighten our belts, so to speak, and think about what we're doing. We got a situation where we played probably wasn't the most important game in Everton's history, but it may well have been, because it might have ended the club if we'd have gone down. Who knows? Who knows? But we played that game without a striker, and without any fullbacks. So that tells you the state of the squad. So therefore, collecting players has to be the end of it. We can't, sadly, the days of thinking that we can pay everyone 90 grand a week and 100 grand a week and just collect players are over at Everton. It's over. We've got to pull that wage bill right back down, certainly till we get in the new stadium, right back down to your almost like your David Moyes type days of 50 grand a week and 60 grand a week, and that's it. And until we do that, the path out of it, Andy, is a difficult one. What I would say is, in terms of like the FFP, there's a big year drops off on the 30th of June. So it's done over 3 seasons, and a minus 93 million drops off it. So therefore, Everton come back within the boundaries of FFP, which means they can spend a little bit more money. But obviously, it's how you spend it. If Everton have got a budget of, and I'm making this up, but if Everton have got a budget of £50 million this summer, we need 6 players. It's not going to go that far. If you go, well, we'll have him for 30 million and we'll have him. Now, it can, if you're amortize, if you then say, well, I'll buy Dave Vitty for 30 million, but I'm going to pay 6 million a year over 5 years, which is what a lot of clubs do, then great, you can do that. And that's how Everton are going to do it. That's how they've got to do it. That's just my view. I don't know whether Pep sees it differently or you boys see it differently, but that's the only way.
I just think we have to get rid of the sentimentality a little bit and just get down to some hard work and bringing in some solid players like we used to have at the club. I think that's the path out of it. Are we going to buy really talented players? Probably not. I think we have to just get some really good, solid players like your James Tarkowski of the world, who's going to play 38 games a season and are going to be. If you have a collection of them, if you have 6, 7 of them in the team, and
then sprinkle goals on it.
Yeah,
maybe sprinkle a few quality players. Have someone like Branthwaite in who's young who can learn. I really like Conor Cody, but I completely understand why you don't go and sign him the day after, because you don't know the future of Michael Keane. You don't know the future of Mason Holgate. It's not going to be easy shifting those players. You do need another left back. You've just lost a left back. You need centre forward. You need a wide player. You need creativity. So I'm going to start at the front and not the back, and hopefully that's what the manager does as well. So, it's just about bringing those players, and then you go, who's that? Oh, I'm not sure about him, or I don't know too much about him. But when they get on the pitch, they work their socks off and make us a difficult team to beat who can score the odd goal. Better players, better results.
Higher up the league, more money. Got to start somewhere.
Exactly. And it's only, by the way, it's only 2-3 more wins, isn't it?
Mm.
And you look at it in a completely different context.
Yeah.
If you're 40, you get 43 points next season, but you've already got, like, say, 35 of them by April or whatever, then you're looking at the season going, we've done all right there. We're quite relaxed. We're not going to go down. But like, you look at, like, say, Wolves. You know, I went to Wolves the penultimate week of the season. They were all really relaxed. They conceded a last-minute equaliser, and they were all like, "Oh well, we're going to say goodbye to this player, and we're going to say goodbye to that player." I'd like a couple of those seasons, please.
And yeah, mid-table obscurity would suit me this season. To be honest with you, you know, just something really calm. You know, no pressure at either end of the table. Just a stability season would do me.
Well, Dave, if Everton done that and finished 5 places higher and finished in the heat, you know, the dizzying heights of 12th, that's another 10-11 million pound in prize money as well, which means that essentially means a 30 million pound player if you amortise it properly. So it is they're the ways out, and I think we do have to cut away what's what and balance the squeak. We have like 8 centre backs and 1 striker. And that's why when you look at the squad, that's why the squad is in the mess it's in, really. And I guess it's trying to balance. It's a difficult one, but listen, I'm sure you went and had a couple of pina coladas with Goofy and Minnie after it, and went down the slide. And let's move on to that. That's enough, Everton. That's it. We stayed up, nothing to celebrate. Hopefully, there's huge changes coming. I think there are. And then we can all move forward. And you're both absolutely right. There's no point surviving to do this all again next season. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't think the Evertonians would have the energy to go 3 on the run and try to do it. And I think we'd go. I think we'd go down. So I think it will be different next season. And whether Sean Dyche is everyone's cup of tea or he isn't, I still think over a full season, I think Everton would be okay.
I think it's what we need at the moment.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, maybe no frills, just get it organised. Anyway, yeah, that's Everton done. Right, let's go with you first, Andy, because you weren't here last week, so we didn't do it. And Dave was busy as well, so we give it a miss. But you were away, cruising away on a Disney cruise. So come on, what was it like?
Do you know what? It absolutely blew my mind. I was deeply worried about how I would deal with it because, like, I'm not a Disney guy. I'm not a massive fan of the films, really. And not that I don't like them. I just don't really watch them. The kids love them and everything. Yeah. And it was just brilliant. I think having grown up, like a lot of my jobs before getting into radio was in catering because I grew up in Devon. So a lot of kitchen stuff and, you know, kitchen porter and all that kind of thing. I'm always really impressed when you've got like a slick operation, no matter what it is. And it was just the most unbelievable operation overall. It was a boat called the Disney Dream, sailing around the Mediterranean. So like we did stops in Barcelona, Cannes, Livorno, Rome, and places like that. And it's got nightclubs, it's got bars, it's got deck games, swimming pools, aqueduct, that thing around the outside of it, like a flume. You can eat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, you get the staff that serve you for dinner, you follow you around the ship. So every time you move to a different restaurant, you have the same team, so they get to know. They take a notebook round, so they know what the kids do and don't like. I mean, it was absolutely amazing, and it was great to be away from obviously the tail end of the season, as we just talked about. But as a new experience goes, cruising seems to be quite hot at the moment, and it kind of blew my mind, and it makes us want to go on another cruise.
Well, I heard quite a lot of it actually when I was in the car this last week. One day in particular, which I thought, you know, listen, I like your show, and it's incredibly random, but never more random than the other day when you were playing ping pong on the radio. That was the first thing, which I've never ever heard before. Live ping pong on the radio between you and Richie, and then there was an opportunity to take part with people to ring in to say that. What would you, if you were transported back to the 1700s, what would your occupation be? Which I found really, where did that come from exactly?
Well, there was a pirate party on like the Wednesday or Thursday night. So they got us an outfit each. So Richie was a rum smuggler and I was a buccaneer.
I couldn't understand where the 1700 reference came from because I obviously missed the start of that. And I just thought, this is really strange. And people kind of going, I think I'd be a yeoman or I'd be a town crier. And I thought, this is just really bonkers.
Well, it does make you think, though. Can you imagine, right? Do Do you guys have any idea? Like, if this was 1705, what do you think you would be? If you were alive then, quantum leap type thing. What do you think you'd do? Would your job be?
We couldn't podcast, obviously, because there's no technology.
No, we'll just meet up in a tavern, I guess.
Yeah, and just sit in the corner.
Face to face.
But that'd be a good one.
For an hour in a tavern.
Yeah, sit there with a tankard.
And hope people were listening in.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. In a tavern.
Ye gather round.
I think
the same approach.
I think it'd be quite. I think you get a lot of people gathering around though, because not many people. I mean, we'd have had to have had the idea first, and there's not much to do, is there?
Yeah.
It did strike me though for a minute that would be something Jeremy Vine would do. Would be on Radio 2 at 12 o'clock. You get in your car and you've got the radio on from the last day, and Jeremy Vine's on. I'm just thinking there would be something like, it's Carol in Swindon. Hello, Jeremy. Well, I would probably will have died from the plague when I was 14.
I'd probably work in a bar. Work in a bar. Why not?
Yeah, you could
Bar
stay
keep.
over the bar. Never mind work in a bar.
That's a bit harsh.
I could see Dave maybe traveling the waterways on. Obviously, didn't have paddle boards back then.
Absolutely.
But some kind of kayak.
Maybe net
or
with a big net or something. Yeah,
taking a shite out of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is probably akin to what he does now.
Probably, pretty much. But no, I enjoyed your week on the high seas, Bush. My only, the thing that I was wondering though, and I felt that maybe you missed a trick, is that I thought that maybe you should have branded the week as Absolute Ship, which I think just would have just had a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
Do you not think?
Yeah.
Because
you just want to be careful how you say that, I guess. But that would have been good.
Absolute Ship would have just had a nice tone, I think.
I could imagine Walt would have had an issue with that.
Walt might have, yeah.
His frozen head, which is in the bowels of the ship, would have been may have had a few issues.
Cryogenically frozen brain would have been.
Yeah, and Walt may have thought that we were taking the mickey as well, which we want to do. That's important.
That's why Vitty's here.
Very clear of.
There he is.
Andy, did you feel any of the swell? Was the boat moving a little bit? Did you have sea legs or anything, or was it all nice and calm and you forget you're on a boat basically?
You could feel it a little bit. I mean, like the Med obviously is just a big lake, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So there was like hardly any waves and stuff like that at all. So I think they're doing cruises from Southampton starting in September, which will go around.
Hang on, you don't need to plug it in.
He's got another one. He's got another freebie on the way.
I'm not. I promise.
Check the website for details.
but
use the code Bush23.
Now.
Imagine that, us on the cruise.
Yes, can imagine doing this from the Disney Dream for a week? That would be special.
Come on, Andy.
Honestly, can you imagine Ped on a Disney cruise?
Oh my
God. Be out of control. Be absolutely out of control.
I
would see a completely different side of me.
You would.
A completely different side of me.
I think Ped would get like quite into the kind of boat wear, like stripy tops, deck shoes, that kind of thing. But Great Gatsby, kind of Formby Great Gatsby.
Definitely. With like shorts, but like a full-on jumper as well on top. You know what I mean?
He'd have to have
the jumper over the shoulders with the sleeves hanging down.
Yeah. He'd have to have some Everton regalia though. The jumper would be an Everton top.
No, I wouldn't go anywhere near
Shut up.
No.
There was one fella on the ship that had a different Everton top on every single day.
Top man.
Oh, tremendous.
So he was like the one beacon of like obviously aware of the situation.
He was representing.
I don't know. He was like there's lots of Americans, so there was an American Evertonian, but he did look like he looked British. So there was you could see, there was a connection out there. But yeah, I mean, I think this podcast on the high seas next season would be great.
Would be tremendous. Well, I don't know whether we can. We'll have to try and wangle it. That would be amazing.
Just be Hull. It'd be Hull to Rotterdam.
It'd be the ferry.
Yeah.
It'd just be the ferry.
You know what, right? I nearly did. I was booked to DJ. The Shine On Weekender that I normally DJ at down in Butlins and Mineheads. I was due to do a gig on that Hull to Rotterdam ferry for Shine On, and it got cancelled right at the start of COVID.
Right.
But I don't know what kind of crossing that would be. That's why I was saying the Southampton one, they've got to go around the Bay of Biscay, I think, to get into the Med. But isn't the Bay of Biscay a bit tasty?
Yeah.
Like a little bit
very
more
tasty, very
lumpy,
that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know how I would be. I mean, I guess it's such a big boat you wouldn't feel it. But I mean, do you guys get seasick? Any of you lot get? Well, Dave obviously not, because he lives on the sea.
On the sea, yeah.
On
you know what?
Hills, so.
I've only
Kevin Costner there.
The worst I've been on, and it wasn't even bad. I don't go on them, so I don't like I want to do a river. I've said this before. I want to do a river cruise because I've got land on both sides. I'm happy with that all day. But when we went to Switzerland, me and Ped went to Switzerland a few years ago on a coach to watch Everton. We were in Switzerland for 9 hours. We went there and watched Everton beat Monaco. But we got on the ferry at Dover.
As you do.
As you do. And we got up to, he was sat down and got up to go and get a drink somewhere. And when it started moving, you felt like I felt like I was bladdered. I hadn't had a drink and I was like, oh my God, if this carries on, I can't. He was just laughing his head off because I didn't know what to do. I'm just like, oh man, I had to sit down. I was thinking, if this goes like this, I'm going to be throwing up everywhere. But luckily, it was just when you got out as you got out the port, it was fine. It was fine after that. But I could not be on one of them and it's bouncing everywhere. I'd be petrified. Petrified. So, no, a river
I remember I was on one once and it's the propeller can come out the water if it's too rough.
Oh my
God. And it came out the water and it sends a vibration all the way through the ship. And I honestly felt like we were going to sink. That was horrible. That was when I was a kid. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible, that feeling. But
have you done any like Irish crossings? I mean, I've done the Swansea Cork ferry, which was like 12
I've done
hours.
Fishguard to Rosslare, and I've done obviously the steam packet over to the Isle of Man as well.
Oh
no, I've
pretty
not
bumpy.
done any of them. I found this new technology called planes.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
You want to try them?
I mean,
you there straight away.
You're not exactly a lover of them either, big man, are you? But you know.
No. Again, it's more the fear of death.
Yeah,
I think.
I find
the fear of planes.
Yeah,
it's the fear of. I've watched far too many films.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like you sit in a plane, you're terrified. It's just when it leaves the floor.
It's like you're not scared of flying. You're just scared of crashing into an enormous mountain.
Yeah.
Mountains are fine. It's oceans. It's when I'm flying. It's always when you're over the water. I'm always thinking, oh God, this is like it's the whole. It's Castaway, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think you've got more chance over the water than hitting a mountain range. Statistically,
it's pretty final, isn't it?
What if the water's got loads of sharks in it as well?
That wouldn't be good.
I still think you've more chance. The problem is that an airplane and a mountain normally doesn't go well.
No. But I've got visions of being with Baz, and then Baz goes full rose, and he won't let me on. He won't let me on the bit of shrapnel. That's keep the bit of wood or whatever. Baz is like, no, and I'm clinging on for dear life. And the next minute, Baz looks down after having a little kid for an hour and goes, just sees I'm frozen, takes me hand, just unlashes it from the bit of plane, and they just see me drift down towards the massive blue gem.
It's another hypothetical situation. Let's just say, God forbid, you and Baz are on a flight somewhere to watch an Everton pre-season game. Yeah. You end up crashing in the Andes, and Baz sadly in the ice has expired.
Yeah.
And you're starving, Ped. You're looking at Baz. Which bit of him are going to eat to survive?
Well, that's the issue, isn't it? There's not much of him. I mean, if it was the other way around, he'd have an absolute feast. He'd have a full-on. He'd be laughing his head off.
It'd be like the Disney cruise, like 24 hours a day, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It would. Yeah. I can't. I simply could not have any more. I'm absolutely full.
No. The only issue, really, we shouldn't go on planes together. We should be like the royal family. We should go on separate planes just to make sure, because God forbid we couldn't let Ned be in charge of this.
I think Baz would taste quite gamey. You reckon Baz would be quite gamey if you were to eat a bit of him?
You think?
It's like a little spice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Starts with me thighs. They'd
have to be heavy seasoning, I think.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Just slow cook him or something like that. But
fair play.
Or air frying.
Because that's what I brought with me. That's what I brought with me.
Brought the air fryer. And you've got a rechargeable thing that you can just plug it in. That's charged ready. Just in case you're on the plank there in the middle of the sea. Well, this will work. And you'll have it in and there you go. Start with me. I've got, my thighs are still muscly. Use them. Let's get off us crashing and being out in the middle of the sea, floating on a piece of metal, whatever it may be. Overall, Andy, it was a tremendous experience.
It was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before in my entire life. It makes me want to go back to the high seas. I'd love to go and do another cruise. I just don't know whether we'll be able to afford it or not, because I think it's they're on the pricey side, that's for sure. But there's loads of them now. There's Norwegian ones where you go around the fjords. That looks pretty cool.
That's the one I want to do.
Yeah. So man. So, I mean, it's made me realise that maybe we're a bit kind of like bit narrow-minded on the kind of holidays that we normally go on. So maybe
have you got any
Absolutely.
You got any Dizzy codes and
Any what?
any Dizzy codes, any discount codes? As Baz said, Bush 23.
Bush 23,
Yeah.
get it off.
No.
That would have been good,
You know.
wouldn't it? Yeah,
Or-
Bush
Yeah.
23.
I know Bush.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I
love Bush. Could be any.
I'm a
It
friend
would
of
help.
Bush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, try putting that in on Disney's website.
Disney
and let
website,
us know
see
how
what
you
it
get on.
does. Absolute Bush.
Yeah.
Absolute Bush.
You know.
Ye old podcast.
Yeah.
But, hey, can you imagine getting sort of pulled up by the internet cops on a Disney website? I mean, trying to put in sort of Bush codes.
Yeah.
That'd be embarrassing, wouldn't it?
It wouldn't
You
be
gotta watch
good.
out for
It
that.
wouldn't be good. Dave, moving on to you, slightly smaller waterways that you've been on a slightly, but you are back paddleboarding again. I did see your post last week, I think it was, saying season open or something, paddleboard season.
Yeah,
back.
absolutely, yeah.
So
yeah.
this has been, I imagine, this has been perfect weather to be out on your board.
It's been good. It's been really good. So yeah, last weekend was the official season opener to the paddleboard season. There was no big sort of display or anything.
I was
It
going
was
to
just
say,
me.
did someone cut the ribbon and off you went?
No, I mean it was less sort of it was less dramatic than that. I basically spent the Friday night, which was nice, cleaning the bird shit off my paddleboard because it'd been out all winter and stuff like that. So that was a celebratory. That's a sort of pre-entry requirement. So I did all that. And yeah, 2 weekends now, and been bobbing around, and it's been nice. Yesterday was lovely. So
any pasties in the bag?
No,
I was going to say, yeah.
No, that's a Cornwall thing. But I do need to book in my next trip down to Cornwall and go paddleboarding for pasties down there. But no pasties in this neck of the woods, sadly.
I'd like to see some GoPro footage of Dave doing that.
That would be good.
I think I need to get a GoPro sort of like head mount.
Like Splinter Cell.
Yeah, absolutely. Or look a bit like Orbital. There's a reference for you.
Or that lad that chases all the trains.
Oh yeah. The guy. Yeah. Except that he has his camera facing him though, doesn't he? Although that might be quite nice.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Get what's behind you. Tremendous, Dave. We look forward to lots more of that. That going on. Changing tack. Just quick. I know Ped's gonna leave early, but that's fine. Bit of Will Young from Ped in a bit.
Gotta go to Skem to
I know. I wasn't going to say that, but you've gone there. But there's been a lot made of. I don't know whether you've been up with this, Andy, at the moment, but there's loads going on with AI at the moment, and we're at full crisis in the world. I just watched a Diary of a CEO podcast with Mo Gordon, who worked at Google and all that, saying basically need to stop right now because otherwise machines will be running the world in 2 years, he said, which is terrifying.
Right.
Is there any real concerns from either of you over this AI threat that we are now facing? Because it seems a bit scary, the thought of it.
Yeah, I think it's scary. I mean, I don't mind admitting I don't fully understand AI.
I don't think a lot of us do, mate.
I mean, I don't even really understand seedless grapes and stuff like that, but AI I really can't get my head around. But I think it's really scary. And I think that when you've got somebody who is an absolute expert in their field, as this guy is, and nobody knows more about this technology and this sort of direction than him, I think if he's saying this is scary shit now and we need to pull out because this is just going to go too far, I think you've absolutely got to listen to him.
Yeah.
What could be more scary than someone like him saying that AI is scary?
But my only issue with it is that like I watched Terminator and everything, and obviously their thing is like robots absolutely battering us and enslaving us and all that kind of thing. But as far as I can tell at the moment, like robots still can't get upstairs or anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, have you seen a robot trying to get up a stairs at one of these robot things? So I feel like they've let the side down a little bit in terms of the advance of.
I don't think it'll be long. I don't think it'll be long.
Well, yeah, but I live in a townhouse, so I've got like another flight.
Yeah,
I'll be all right.
You've got a couple of years left while it's
I'm okay.
But isn't it like Milton Keynes? They've got loads of little wheel-along robots. That
Have you ever seen them? They're mad.
I've seen photos of it. It looks pretty crazy.
Do you know about this, Baz?
No.
This isn't a piss take.
No,
so
go
in Milton Keynes and a couple of other places, I've seen them, and they have these. They're like food delivery robots. So they are like a little buggy, right, with 4 wheels on there, and then there's like a big kind of flag, so you can see them coming.
Yeah.
And what happens is is that if you order a pizza or something like that, I don't quite know how they get the pizza in there, or a burger or whatever it is, and they put the food into this little buggy, and then they obviously put a postcode in there, and this buggy goes down the pavement, it crosses roads and everything, and will actually pull up outside your house, right? Because I remember I was there a couple of years ago, and we were filming, and the cameraman was with us, and he just kind of goes, "What's that?" And I said, "Oh, that's one of those food delivery robots." And again, he thought I was taking the piss, but they do genuinely exist. Google it.
It's like Big Track. It's like a modern version of the kids' toy from the 80s, Big Track.
Wow.
It's really weird though when you see it coming down the street.
I bet. Can you ride one? Do you reckon you get on one and like if you knew where it was going and get a lift?
I think if you were a small child, you could probably, I think even Baz would be too big for it.
Even Baz.
That would last about 5 minutes in Liverpool. I mean, the scooters that we've got in the city end up just literally flung all over the place. So could you imagine something with food in it? It would last about 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not for everywhere. That's for sure.
Fair play to Milton Keynes. They've gone. So AI worrying, but let's see how
it is worrying. But
Yeah,
don't you think we've also had a good crack of it? You know, maybe it's time for someone else to come and let them take charge of things, because we've had, I just the pinnacle of life. If that's going round a bit of water on a boat, then I think we need to maybe let someone else take over for a bit.
It's not. It won't be for a bit.
Baz, it can edit.
Yeah.
We use it every day. We can't start complaining about it. It's brilliant.
It's
the thing that where it passed the test though that has caused all this concern is that it was an AI was trying to pass a capture test. You know where you have to fill in this thing.
Yeah.
And what it did, it convinced someone else remotely that it was visually impaired and got them to answer the test for them.
Oh my God.
So that they could then pass the test. So that's been one of the big kind of landmark moments where, hold on a minute, this has gone in a direction I don't think they kind of anticipated.
No, well, they say
it's quite scary.
It's got consciousness now, yeah. And there's the other thing is apparently there's been 2 Drake records released that basically AI has just done. It's used his voice and created 2 songs that isn't him, but they're basically Drake songs, and they're now posing the question of like, well, what's going to be the point of any of them? I mean, Ned's knackered. Although to be honest, I don't see AI turning up in the Bearded Stand in Rainhill and playing to the pub. To be fair, but you've got to look after everyone, haven't you? See how we go. Terrifying. Let's have some of our subscriber questions, because these are always interesting. Paul Livesey says, all right, lads, great debut season for you boys. I've loved this show the most. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you very much.
If you could snap your fingers and you'd be a virtuoso standard player of any instrument, what would it be and why? Or any tales of music instrument woe or success from your past? Singing doesn't count. What instruments, if you could? See, a guitar I'd love to play. And I know that isn't like, oh my God, I'd love to be a billionaire one day. I know I could probably learn the guitar. I'm not going to, but I would love to just be able to play it. Is there anything you lads would like to just go and you're amazing at?
I remember having a tin whistle. I got bought a tin whistle when I was a kid. And they're terrible things, aren't they, tin whistles? Awful, absolutely awful. But I'd love to be able to play that really well. Do you know what I mean? Like, was it James Galway? Was that his name? Or James, what was his name? There's a flute player. Who's the flute player with the beard?
Oh, yeah.
Something haunting. Either way, I'd like to play haunting
him.
Gaelic music.
Okay.
On that. And make people cry. Make people in the vicinity of me just think, oh my God, that's absolutely lovely.
Okay.
Or just really overcome with emotion.
You just can't.
As you're just such a powerful flautist.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit like, the theme tune to Titanic and stuff like that. Kind of, oh, that's incredible.
And would you also then go into more upbeat like jazz flute, like Ron Burgundy? Would you would go down that route as well? Because I think you've got to have a range in your repertoire. You've got to have them in tiers in multiple emotional states.
Well, maybe get myself in the Gladys Street end, and I could be kind of like a bit of a rabble rouser for people.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
And see if you
kind
can
of Orange Order vibes though. That's the only problem when you do it.
That's the problem with that.
Good luck at that, Andy. I can't even get a bottle top in the Gladys Street. Never mind a flute.
You got no chance.
no idea where you're smuggling that.
Well, hey, Dave, any instruments?
Well, I mean, again, it's predictable, but I think the guitar is a good one.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that there's always a guitar around somewhere. And I like the idea of being one of those people where you can turn up without any equipment and then just really impress them.
Off
because,
you go. Yeah.
you know, a bit like Rats, there's probably a guitar within every kind of 4 or 5 foot, isn't there, somewhere? You know, everyone's got one. Like if your mate hasn't got one, your next door neighbor's got one or whatever. So I think it'd be good to have something where you could just turn up to a barbecue and then just suddenly be amazing and really, really impress people. And then just put it down and then just go home.
I like
I'd like to see Dave playing More Than Words by Extreme. Or
That's
something
my
like
wedding
that.
song.
Nice, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Is it?
My wedding song, yeah.
They're on tour again at the minute. I saw Extreme.
It's tremendous.
I'd love to see Dave play that.
Shite.
Dave playing that is amazing. Go on, Ped.
Yeah.
What was yours?
Bagpipes.
Okay.
Yes.
They are impressive.
Number one, they
Wow.
are very, very. You can imagine how many people I could annoy playing bagpipes, but also the same. Almost.
You've
like
got the
Andy
Scottish
there.
look for it as well.
Yeah,
to be
you
fair.
have.
So what Andy just said there, it's that idea of making. You know, there's nothing more haunting than the bagpipes.
Yeah.
And it's something that not many people can play. So therefore, you know, you will be getting all the weddings and all the funerals in
You
your
would.
local area.
You would. And bar mitzvahs.
You know,
Mm.
at code Bush 23, get your 10%
Exactly.
discount.
Ped, Ped, last question for. I know you've got to go. Won't be our last question, but this is from Glenn Watson. Says non-football question, and it's that he's used you. That's why I'm including you. Starts with football. Ped originally didn't rate Dwight McNeil, but he grew on him towards the end of the season. At first, there you go. At first, I didn't like sparkling water, but now I get busy with fizzy every day. So my question is, what is something in life you originally did not like but grew to love? So we'll go with you because I know you've got
sparkling water. Sparkling water is horrendous.
Yeah, I don't like
Absolutely
sparkling water.
horrendous.
I love. What's your problem with sparkling water?
Well, because it
you
sort
have
of tastes
so
like it's got a
nostalgia.
funny gas taste.
I know it's water. It's not supposed.
It makes
to
me
have
feel
flavor.
alive. Makes me feel alive.
No, it's wrong. It just shouldn't happen.
So come on, Ped.
Bubbles. It's just air and water, you two.
It's not supposed to be in. There's not supposed to be air in water.
There's no rules on that.
But it's actually a gassy taste.
Weird.
Something I don't know if I could answer that in this short, but there's probably loads of things. Probably some. But I imagine some kind of food. I imagine that I probably didn't used to like when I was a kid, or used to probably think it looked disgusting or whatever. And then as your palate changes, you get into something. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I would say right now.
Okay.
But yeah, there you go.
All right. Great answer. Andy, you something you didn't, you were nonplussed with, or now you really like it?
Used to hate olives. Used to absolutely despise olives with all my heart, and then now I absolutely love them. Green olives used to make me sick of even the thought of them, but now I remember having a stuffed olive off a. You remember you used to put stuffed olives on the bar?
Yeah.
Back in the day when you
in the day, yeah.
I remember having one of them, thinking this is awful. This is absolutely awful, and now I just can't get enough of them. I don't know what happened. I don't know where it all changed.
Dave,
black pepper for me.
Okay.
Just never was a fan of black pepper when I was a kid. And, my dad used to use it a lot and I just couldn't eat it. And now I literally smother everything in black pepper. And
everything.
Well, not my cereal, but you know what I mean? But anything kind of savory normally has black pepper involved on there. Yeah.
No, I'm the same, mate. I have black pepper over everything. I absolutely love it. Mine would be nuts. I've really got into the health thing and all of that. I've really I never used to be able to eat nuts or whatever, but now almonds, walnuts, sunflower seeds, chia, all of that, nuts and seeds, I eat.
Dry roasted.
The two caveats to it are peanuts. I just don't like the taste of them, and dry roasted I can't have either.
But really?
Almonds, walnuts, pecans, pistachios, all of them. Adam,
can I ask another question? Very quick. You mentioned there about Ped, and he's just left now because he had to leave early.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you guys.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked out early from an Everton game, or when was the last time? If you have, when was that? Have you got? Because I've always made quite a mission because I've lived far away from Goodison Park to go. So why would you drive all that way and then leave early? But if you live nearer the stadium, you more within your rights to go. You guys ever walked out before?
The only game I've ever walked out of early was the 2012 FA Cup semi-final against Liverpool. When Andy Carroll scored in the 90th minute, and I think he put up 3 minutes or 4 minutes the board, and I think I went after about a minute into extra time because we didn't get the ball, and I thought I cannot be in this stadium when the final whistle goes.
Yeah,
And it was a day when, if you don't know whether you remember it, we were winning.
I do.
Jelavic scored. We were all over them. The game should have been done at half time. And in Everton fashion, it didn't. And we rode the first kind of 10 or 15 minutes out of the second half when they were all over us. And we got through that period into the period where the game had settled back down and it was a bit of nothing.
Distan.
And then Distan with the back pass. And it
I
flipped.
forgot about that.
And it changed.
God, it was awful.
And then Coleman come on as a sub and pushed Gerrard in the back when he was going nowhere. And he took the free kick and Carroll headed it in. That was the only one I've ever walked out of. Because I'm like you, I've gone. I've paid me money and I'm going to watch every minute because I'm there as a supporter. I'm not there to get off. I understand some people have to go, whatever, but no, that's the only game I've ever walked out of, really.
No, I mean, again, only from kind of big event stuff like Wembley stuff. But as a general rule, no, Goodison, I don't leave early.
No.
Just because I think, you're there and that's it. And you're going to be there to the end. And I am. I'm
talking of leaving. Does he
talking of leaving early, I'm going to have to go in a second.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
You're trying to get hold of me.
No worries. You go on, you go. And I've got 3 questions. If you've got to go, Dave, you've got to go.
Well, no, go on.
Okay.
Give us the 3 questions.
Right.
And then
what do you think of the pedestrianisation of Norwich City Centre? Don't answer it. Don't answer it. That isn't a real one. Matt Seddon says, what is your food or beverage game changer ever? Soda Stream, George Foreman Grill, Ninja. Have you had something that has been a game changer for you, food or drink wise? I'd say ours is the coffee machine in here.
I mean, I use my George Foreman Grill every day.
That very much is a game changer for you.
Every day I use it for my lunch, but I haven't got a Ninja air fryer. But anyone that I know who's got them just is like a different person.
You must hate soda streams then, Dave, given your hatred towards carbonated water or sparkling water.
Well, yeah. Although when I was a kid, though, I always wanted a soda stream because my friend Ian had one, and we weren't allowed one in our house. And then we used to go over to Ian's house and his brother Gary and stuff. And then, they used to make cherryade and orangeade and all those different things. And I thought it was amazing. But I'm more likely to drink them. I find sparkling water like Ped. I just find that sort of strange, sort of slightly gassy taste I don't like very much.
Okay. Chad Schofield, getting off an aeroplane before the doors are unlocked. Are you A, a sit and wait person? B, desperately get nearby to your overhead locker only once the fasten seatbelt sign goes off? Or stand waiting with luggage ready, disregarding seatbelt signage or please from the cabin crew?
I'm a as soon as the light goes off, up,
ready to go,
and get my stuff, and then down again, ready to go.
Yeah, me too. Andy, any difference on that?
But not beforehand. This is still adhering to the
rules,
regulations,
aviation regulations. Yeah. What are you, Andy? You a sit and wait guy?
Always,
absolutely. Matt,
in fact, on the flight back.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah.
On the flight back.
I know. I was just going to say, I get my bag, sit down, and then. So get me bag on my knee, then wait for everyone to get off, then get off.
Class.
It's quite complicated.
That's quite classy, though. Classy waiting. Matt Symes says, Dear 1878 Agony Ants, I am seeking your advice on a minor issue I've encountered. Recently, HR contacted me mentioning their software had discovered a correlation between my sick days, instances of leaving work early, family emergencies, and the match schedules of Everton Football Club. Impressive since I'm in Toronto. While I understand the correlation does not imply causation, I would appreciate your guidance on how to address this situation and redirect the suspicions of HR. I don't think you can, Andy. Sorry, Matt. Yeah. I think you just say that on those days when Everton are playing, you've got a medical issue that makes you nervous and ill. Mm-hmm. That's what I would say. Nothing you can do about it. And the final one, choose your worst pizza toppings you can think of.
Oh, okay. Goat's cheese.
Go with 3. Go on. Goat's cheese.
Goat's cheese. Coriander. And mushrooms.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go ham, pineapple, and that one where they do a fried egg in the middle.
Really? Ham and pineapple? A lot of people like ham and pineapple.
I like a Hawaiian pizza.
It's not. Here's the rule, right? Nothing Nothing that goes on the top of the pizza should take longer to cook than the pizza itself.
Okay. I've
I'll leave you
seen
with that.
pizza. One of the pizza companies does a cheeseburger topping on a pizza.
Disgusting.
It's a Domino's, isn't it?
I ain't having it. That to me, that is
too much.
Too much. It's disgusting.
That and AI, two of the biggest threats to humanity.
They are, and I have to say that. Right, that is us wrapped up for the season. There's a lot of calls for this not to stop during the summer, so I'll have to speak to the lads, but Ped's not here next week, so there won't be one definitely for the next week or so.
We could do a sporadic kind of, just a little check-in every so often.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it'd be nice not to do any football with it, really, as well. So we'll thrash that out. We'll get, it's the two big players in this podcast. It's their agents I have to speak to, but we'll see how we go. But listen, boys.
Well, when you get hold of Ped's agent and Ned's agent, you let us know.
It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an amazing podcast for me to do all season. I've loved every minute of it. So thank you very much for giving up your time all season.
Thanks for having us.
And for everyone else, thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Take care.